Hello, welcome to Orphan Espresso. I'm Doug.
I'm Barb.
And this is the OE Pharos hand coffee grinder. I'd like to just demonstrate a few of the features of the grinder, show what it is that we're talking about. We've got some text and photo design studies on the website, but just like to talk about this fairly revolutionary coffee grinder up close and personal for just a bit. The grinder itself, we designed this in an attempt to solve many of the plaguing issues with hand coffee grinders. One is the wobbly burrs, plastic parts is another, that it seems that there has not been a lot of attention that's been paid over the years to advancing hand coffee grinder designs, and so we wanted to make a grinder that would do everything and basically, in our opinion, last forever. This is our prototype grinder. It's seen quite a bit of hard use. It's been pounded on. It's traveled with us all over the place. It's been the victim of a few slam on the brakes, and there it goes across the back of the wagon, and whoops, and as you see, a few scratches, a few marks, but solid, and they hold up very well over time. I just want to point out some of the features of the grinder really quick, and then we're going to do, we'll come back to do a second video to show some sample grinds and dosing techniques. But every part of the grinder has a direct functional equivalent on classic hand coffee mills. I've got one right here. This is about as classic as they get. This is the turn of the last century, 1900s lap mill here. You see that we have an upper funnel which contains the beans. This is represented on the Pharos by what we call the bean ring. This enables you to pour beans into the top of the grinder without spilling them. Same thing. This we refer to as the popper stopper. Basically, as it turns out, on the end of the grind there's a few fly ups and fly outs. This helps for neatness. This is the equivalent of the top, which closes. That's the popper stopper. This is the where the beans enter into the top. And part of the reason for some of these more revolutionary concepts is that our insistence on the design was there are two large bearings, replaceable bronze bearings, and the top and the bottom. This is a 1/2-inch rod. There's a bearing up on the top, and the axle goes all the way through to this bearing on the bottom. Contained in the center is a 68mm commercial coffee grinder burr, conical. Okay? This part is mounted on the rod. This part is mounted here on this second plate. This is the burr, quite sharp. As you can see, each of these faces, this is machined smooth around the edge. This is machined smooth around the edge. That's how they fit together. If you notice, see, this commercial burr does not fit like a suction together. It does not touch in all 360 degrees at one time.
And this is the same burr that's used in large commercial grinder.
Yes, in the big commercial grinders, the 3-footers. You know, the amazing ones that you can't fit into your kitchen without using no hopper. But this is the burr, okay? Contained in this bottom section, this section here, is the equivalent of the drawer. The grounds have to go somewhere, so they're contained in the bottom part here. This is a structural element of the grinder, because if you conceive of turning this burr, this is 38 millimeter is the size of generally in a hand grinder burr, or in the smaller conical burrs, grinders, but this is a big burr, so you need a lot of power to turn it. You have to have a lot of structural integrity to keep this entire mechanism from twisting. So this is a 1/4 inch thick ABS tube in the bottom that is precisely length, and these points here, these are bolts that are placed into the edge of the tube very precisely to keep the mechanism from twisting. It resists any kind of torsional forces. Okay, in this, to aid in emptying the grounds out, which in any case sometimes is a dicey proposition with these old dusty grinders, it's got a lot of dust on it, is that we have inside this bottom section there is a specially formed funnel, and the funnel fits in here. The burr, the axle pierces this funnel and it protrudes through the bottom for emptying the coffee. We have a simple stopper system emptying the coffee through the bottom of the bottom section. So as you see, we have basically all of the functional elements of the classic grinder, but the form of the machine accommodates the double bearing and the long axle that runs completely through the machine. The burr, the axle will end at the end of the burr in every other grinder but this. Now, the adjustment mechanism is made using these two jam nuts, two thumb nuts at the top. The first nut is for the adjustment of the gap of the two burrs. Larger gap, coarser grind. And this top one simply locks the two jam nuts together to maintain the setting. The large knob is a soft ergo grip knob made by Elesa in Italy. It has a ball bearing spin on it and very large, powerful gripping knob. We up-engineered every part of this grinder with the theory that a lot of power was going to be required to turn this big burr. And
as it turns out, it's not as much power required as one would think.
Right.
Depends on how you hold the grinder.
Depends on how you use the grinder and how to hold the grinder. This is another element. This is our Tommy bar or breaker pin. If you find that you might need this for some extra force when you tighten these up, this assists. It also assists in monitoring your setting. If you're at a 0 point, for example, you're at a 0 point and you want to set the grinder at a 1/4 of a turn, as you see, the top of the grinder is much like the face of a clock. And so to go a 1/4 of a turn, I simply go up to this point here to 1/4, stop at this area, lock down my top nut, and that's my setting. You'll find that every element on the classic hand grinders is contained in the Pharos, but in just a little different format. This is the Pharos. These are some of the elements. If you come back for the next video, we'll show some grinds and some adjust on the fly techniques that might be kind of helpful to you. But that's pretty much it. You've got 2011, 1900. Here's the Pharos.